Yo, what's up? Hello?
Yo, bro. Yeah, I was just doing some sending up. I was just spreading out the space real quickly. How's it going?
Yeah, good, good. Um, yep, all good. Um, let's see. Where's the space with uh, yeah, I hope if possible we can review some of the ones that haven't been reviewed yet.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the best thing to do.
yeah,
There is
because we
quite a
are
lot.
coming to a close, right? And it would be nice to I know every time we on the Twitter space we try to let whoever comes on share their proposal.
Yeah,
Sometimes twice is okay, but yeah, because we're running out of time, so I think we
yeah,
gotta get through some of them,
yeah.
and that particularly relevant to your area, because you guys are sort of the onboarding expert, if you like, the community guys.
Yeah, bro. Don't know about experts. Yeah. uh, let's get these two out. Oh wow, that's a quick way of doing it. So how does it do it? Does it send it as a message then? What's going on, Upper? Yeah, follow you from this profile. Let me hit you up.
Hi,
What's good? What's good? What's good?
everything. It's been a wonderful day. How about you guys?
That's what we like to hear. Yeah, it's been a neat Friday for me. Neat. So yeah, I'm just want to get this show on the road and get to looking at some of these other applicants, as Hero was just saying. Connect to some more of them.
I'm excited too, just to see what's up.
Yeah, man. Yo. Who's this in here? Right, Wiz. Let's invite you up to speak. Are you a Degrants applicant, sir, or
I'm
Miss?
considering it.
Huh?
I'm considering it.
Well,
Considering,
considering,
oh, okay,
I think that the
cool.
applications are closed for now, but there will maybe be a next program running. So,
Oh, that's
I
cool.
would
That's cool.
say pretty high chance there will be a next round. But I don't want to give out false promises, like in case I'm wrong. But there's a pretty good chance. I think, if all of you guys think it's a worthy, to have community help deciding where to allocate, and the overwhelming feedback is positive, then by there's no good reason not to have it again, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Currently, I'm more so in the research phase. This is a relatively novel concept, and based on the little digging I did into both the standard team, so its real world implications, it sounds like it has a lot of similarities to nonprofits. In fact, to my knowledge, there's a lot of established companies that have gone that route. Granted, they don't use stacks for what they're doing, but they have a Bitcoin component in terms of funding people for projects
Hmm.
via applications and that. So yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's we need all kinds of projects, to be honest. Obviously there might be some preferential type of route that we take as a community, just because of our we are still pretty infant, in our cycle. We are like a little baby, so I think general community might have certain preferences. It's not really up to me, even, to be honest. It's really up to the community coming together on a Twitter space or in other method to deliberate sort of what they think are important. But I think, like, for sure, like I see in the Ethereum world, they have so much. initiatives going on, with or without grant, which is pretty amazing to see, to be honest. But we are lacking. We don't have that in Stacks, so we need to bring some of them here as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think definitely this will help to embolden more facilitation from community, and in turn maybe more available to help to facilitate from the foundation. So yeah, who else
Right.
that we got
So,
down there? Sorry.
shall we get started, Nat, or you want to wait?
No, let's go, man. Let's go. I mean, which one do you want to start with first? I'm just random selecting. Sorry, I just gone back into the document. So I was on Stacks Wiki, which was the other day, wasn't it? So the one underneath that is prediction/tournament game using Stacks. That shall not be
By the way, just one second.
unless you want to go in any particular order.
No, no, no. I was just gonna ask a tangential question. Like, how are you finding this document, right? Like so far, like, is it bad? Is it good?
It's decent. It's decent, yeah. But I just different people arrange their Excel sheets in different ways, right? Now everything in there is great, but the only thing that I would do personally is I would wrap all the text. Like that's something that I always do because I just hate having to
Yeah,
click on stuff and to see it. You know, Angela say to you.
but the problem with wrapping text is like each cell becomes so huge and
Yeah,
it's
because
even harder to navigate.
right, but that's because you've collected the form responses into here, whereas
Uh,
if obviously you can't add loads of users to block survey, right? But you could
yeah,
oh, you know what, right? You could maybe you should speak to Wilson because we did a bit of a partnership with Block Survey, so we've got Block Survey to use like for Stacks London, right? And we can
mm,
add like quite a few users in it. So maybe there's something that you could
mm,
speak to Wilson about, in which advocates or something has a very good version of a Block Server where they can add like hell of a lot of users, and then maybe we could use that to view stuff because then everybody can you can give people permissions in it, right? And then everyone can just go in, view stuff, and everyone's reading it from the same place still. The results look a lot better. You can get visualizations, So maybe that's one way of doing it. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty decent for what we need to do in it here because it makes it really quick and easy for what we need to do. Yeah. At
yeah,
this moment in time. Like, but obviously I
yeah,
think that mine and your heads are ticking the same way. Is that if it was like a really easy, simple UI dashboard, it would be really great. But we haven't
yeah. Do you
we
know
haven't
what?
got
Like
that
long
yet
time
right now.
ago, do you remember a long time ago? I don't know if you were here, but Stacks actually had a dashboard, and then they moved back to GitHub.
Yeah. I remember, bro. I remember.
What I personally like is
Maybe
when
someone
it's
should
on
build a
GitHub.
dashboard. Got a few dashboard templates.
Ethereum has quite a few dashboard, platforms, but they're all like EVM centric, basically.
Maybe I
But
should.
actually, they are not. They are not. They are not. But yeah, some of them like in Cardano, the even. But my what I personally like, not to share, not like the. I hope I'm being objective. Is like traditionally when you have a lot of grants on GitHub, you can't see all of them. So I personally like seeing all of them in the same sheet, so that it helps me personally to think and compare easier. Because when it's on GitHub, when it's all like in its own issue, I don't know. Like it's just hard to navigate and hard to think in bigger picture.
Do you know what? I don't think GitHub is bad for that because I like the fact that you have the issues because it sets it out more like categories, right? When you have the issues, so I do
Yeah,
actually like it. But what I don't, what you said is like once people begin to comment, yeah, like very regularly on there, then it becomes like a loss. You can't find anything, and
yeah,
it just gets really stupid. And then
yeah. That's true.
people start pulling on other people's comments, bro, to create something new.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Right. Anyway, sorry. Let's
yeah.
let's get back on topic. I see
Gordon, what's
David
up?
here. I see David here. I think he submitted a grant.
Yeah, David.
Let's try. Let's go to David because he's here. We can start. And his one hasn't been reviewed yet.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know how he's connecting though. It doesn't seem like he's connecting.
Uh, Rog.
But if anybody wanna come up and tell us about your ground applications or wanna help us comment on some of these or review or ask questions, feel free to come up. Just request to speak. Like we're all here to review together, not just the stewards. David, are you there? Okay. Maybe before we get to David, let's just go to the first one that hasn't been reviewed yet.
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
it's saying. The prediction.
yeah. So
Yeah.
prediction, whatever. Using SDK. What is that? Building tokenized gaming
We are
platform.
solving the problem for a Stacks ecosystem where players are allowed to predict the outcome of events and can also bet or play gaming tournaments, staking their stacks to win from. So a Stacks gambling platform, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely something I see missing in Stacks that we don't have any betting platform.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the challenge is that I heard from staking. I once jumped on Twitter Space hearing staking, at stake.com or something like that. They were talking about it and they were saying, I think one of the question was like, what's the biggest challenge from adoption? And they actually said it's because of the legislation. So this type of thing is great and I love to use it, but the problem is regulation.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, bro. Of course. But you have like iGaming, so it's is like full regulation, bro. Like anything gambling is just nuts, bro. It's
Yeah, I
nuts.
mean, I
So
love to bet on football, somehow in a
mhm.
permissionless fashion.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
man, I keep
I mean,
asking
the
myself.
thing,
I
the
made a
thing,
few tweet about it. Like, why isn't anybody doing it? And
the
there's
thing
just
is,
no
yeah.
good
Look,
answer.
if you're doing it, like you said, like non-custodial, full decentralized fashion, I don't think there's anything wrong with it at that point. Yeah.
Well, I think the problem is that that team cannot be doxxed, because if you're doxxed and you create a platform like that, when you grow big, they will come after you and you will
Yeah, of
have to
course, bro.
abide by regulation. So
Of
you
course.
can stay small, and then they don't give a fuck about you, because you're small. But once you become gaining any major traction, and if your team is doxxed, then basically you will have to pivot.
Yeah, yeah.
Therefore, it become like KYC platform, like no difference to. I think stake.com is KYC.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like because as well, it's gambling. Like the KYC is really important because of the age limit.
Yeah. So I think it's like a good idea, from an idea standpoint. I don't know who that person is. Um,
Might
I think is it TK or is it different? Let me look. It's different.
it might be like something to do as like building the engines like testnet. Yeah. So
Mm.
like using testnet stacks for it for now, so that they can improve the idea. That is a good way of doing it, and just keep it like a little fun thing that you can do, and maybe some stacks facts come up on the screen or something like that whilst you're
Yeah.
doing it. So a little fun way to kind of test out the stacks faucet maybe.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know about, but this can stay so it can only grow so big. There's a cap to
There is,
the.
yeah,
So I'm like a lukewarm on this personally, but it's interesting though. It's for sure a good idea to pitch.
yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so what are we saying about this? Okay, so anybody else in there? Gordon, are you in the sheet, Papa?
Yeah, I'm just had a look through there. And obviously, Edeni is part of the Stackers community in Africa there. Hasn't been not active on Twitter, but that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I was just having a look through. Yeah, not something of my expertise to really comment on in that regard. I'm not a gamer or a gambler or a tech developer, so I'd leave that to some others.
Upper reality, do you have any thoughts on that?
As a matter of fact, I am not currently looking at the sheet. I'll pull it up as I'm just listening for now. And
No, you don't have to. I was just wondering whether, I don't know if you happen to come across in the gaming world or betting world. Uh, yeah, just no, it's okay. Don't worry.
yes, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really enjoying hearing about this, but it's definitely way outside my wheelhouse,
No
my
problem.
my area of expertise. But if I do have something, I'll be sure to mention it, but not this time.
All good. Cool. So what can we? Should we give them any advice or what?
I've just put a note in there
Cool.
from me. I'm going to put you for the same thing, so I'll just put hero/nat. Regulatory challenges, possible scaling challenges, interesting idea, and maybe fun for testnet SBTC.
Yeah, actually, SBTC might be a good thing for them, right? So if they do want to spin this up, and it's fun, and even if they do it, I would use it. But but I think from ecosystem standpoint, yeah, it's might be a nice one to have if
The
we
thing
don't
is,
have.
the thing is, right? If yeah, sorry, so if they're tested on SBTC, right?
Yeah,
If they're testing using SBTC, it could then scale. Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Maybe SBTC is a better way for them to take it. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, so I'd say post Nakamoto for this one.
So I guess a couple of things. If you had, a choice, say for example, if there was two gamification projects like this, or Chess on Chain. Chess on Chain's already got something developed. It's got users there or potential users there. This one sounds like it's nothing started at all. So yeah, definitely like to see some concepts and they're not talking a lot of development time in the sense of what
Or
Yeah,
what they're
or a lot
proposing.
of money at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a lot of
So
money. So
they could
yeah,
probably bootstrap doing that, the developers themselves, and say, hey guys, I've got something, get some users going, see how it's going, and then yeah, it could be something hot, but they need to develop something.
let me see what the because it said something before that he's got some experience coding, co-organizer of Code Up Africa. Okay, so I'd imagine that this person does have some experience coding. I've been in the Web3 space over 2 years, and I've been involved in game projects before, so can lead my team to get it done. I think maybe if we can speak to that person, we can get them to elaborate maybe a little bit more on their experience, Gordon, because I agree with you. If it is something that they can spin up at least a template for pretty quickly, I mean, look, user interface is they split that down into user interface $550, game asset creation $450, wallet creation $600, user authentication $400. So I would say maybe if they could do the user interface, and I think if they could spin that up, maybe then
yeah. Maybe more
yeah,
convincing, right?
yeah, more convincing. Yeah, that's the word that I'd use. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one though, because as I said, like some of these, yeah, right, like because it depends like how we're thinking about what you're saying here. Obviously, it's highly likely that there will be a second round, but it's kind of like when that second round is for some of these, because something like this would be good to spin up, as I said,
Yeah,
like for SBTC testnet, test
yeah,
it, and then come in for a second round to then say,
yeah,
okay, we are implementing mainnet SBTC.
yeah.
Because doing it that way would make it like, as I said, like a pretty viable business idea, right? For
Could
SBTC.
be. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wouldn't
So
say. I would say to the size that they can be, yeah, it will be a good little. It's a good project to be self-sustainable. But if you're talking about mass adoption, I just think regulation is a challenge. Therefore, from a business perspective, it can only grow so big. So it's not gonna be employing like thousands of people kind of situation.
yeah, no,
If
of
you want
course.
to employ thousands of people on a betting platform, you will have to KYC. No choice.
Yeah, 100%, bro. You have to because of the age restriction, like I was saying. Yeah,
But I do think there's like a hole missing in Stacks that we don't have something like this. So I like the idea because of that. Because if we do have something like that, then it gives another reason for people to come to Stacks to mess around with different, apps.
yeah. All right.
Anyways,
Anybody,
That's
let's
it's
move to
anybody
the
else
next one.
looking at that, or anybody else got anyone to comment on that one, or move on?
Let's
yeah.
move to
What
the
what's
communities.
just a comment. Good to see is Code Up Africa. They got nearly 500 in their meetup and they hold regular events. I have seen them around a bit in different things. Got a GitHub. Um, yeah, good to
Which
see.
one?
Code Up Africa. So he's
Code of Africa. Which
co-organizer of
That's the
the.
organizer. Yeah, he said it's a co-organizer of that event. So
Yeah, I have run into them earlier when I first joined Stacks. So they're definitely be good
and they've
to
been
be
they've been
good to
around for a while. If when you bumped into them when you first
yeah
joined,
be
yeah.
good to
sorry, are we looking at are we oh you mean are we looking at the gaming one?
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
yeah.
yeah
Oh,
I
okay.
was just making a comment. It was good to to reach out to the applicant, and good to see their community. Let's find out what they're up to and get some engagement there with them.
All right, co-organizer. I see the in the prior contribution field. Yeah.
All right, so the next one following that is the number 24. This is community engagement tooling. Okay, so a tool allows bridge gap between fundraising and delivery, whilst providing engagement for the community throughout the life of the project. So this is a crowdfunding platform. What is the issue? NFT projects is like story at the start, middle, and end. Start fundraising at the end, delivery of goals. Many projects lose engagement after initial hype dies down. This can be done. Our tooling allows creators to bridge the gap and provide engagement for the community throughout the life of a project. Creators can configure NFT sets to yield a token, which can then be used to buy further NFTs or interact with projects in other ways. Web APIs are provided to allow creators to integrate their own projects whichever way they like. Okay, so impact.
To bridge the gap between fundraising and delivery.
Yeah.
What number is
the
this
main
one?
areas of impact. This is 24.
Yes, I did review this one previously. The person that was the applicant there, I thought it had a high value past stacks, like as in stacks project credibility and a track record, and I did look through the application, looked well presented. So
Yeah, I think it's Craig, who is a founder of Nonesh, right, or co-founder. I'm not quite sure about what he's proposing. I think he's trying to provide tooling, but I'm not sure what that tooling looks like.
Yeah, that's where I'm stuck at the moment, because don't get me wrong, I understand exactly what that is with in terms of hold on, we've already built, because I want to have a look at some of this.
yeah, it's actually got submitted now. Submitted.
Okay, so he's done it under procrastinate pixels.
Yeah, so it's got a doc there, and it's all about basically
Yeah.
an NFT is like a story. There's a start and a middle and an end. The start is the fundraising, and the end is the delivery of goals, and they're easy to define, measure, and plan for. The middle, however, is the largest and arguably most important part of the project. So most
It
of
looks
them
Okay,
like
yes, I see. Okay, right. So they're also the guys that helped Jim and Dash to do narcotics. I've just looked
yeah,
through there.
correct.
Right. Okay. Yes. This is very viable because I'm not the guest one, but I'm in the non-ish thing. They've done like points for DGods, a point system for DGods, and narcotics I most definitely use. Right. So like this is a very, very, just reading through it, even on the proposal, it's very viable for them to be able to. I'd say hero like.
so. Is for Discord the tooling, or is it more like some sort of API?
It's
It says here, create and configure NFT sets to
Yeah.
yield a token.
yeah.
And
So
then it says web APIs are provided to allow
yeah, that's what I was
creators.
just about to say. Web APIs. So it looks like it's just really web APIs, and I'm sure they would have some of the UI dashboard for most creators as well.
So
Which is
it's
certainly
isn't
fair.
like Stir Friends, like the one of the past run by I can't remember the name, but that it was more like community engagement tooling kind of situation.
Yeah, so here they've got it in the proposal. It says a simple generic Discord bot will be provided, but the
Oh
APIs
right,
are available for project owners to use in any way they like. So they'll have the API documentation and allows them to use it in Discord.
right, yeah. I mean, I could definitely
Not that
trust
I'm
you will
trying to.
deliver it for sure
Yeah, we
because I
can trust
know.
they'll deliver it. Yeah, 100%. Not that I'm. I'm trying to hit up projects with changing their. I think right now I'd more lean towards. I am fully kind of leaning towards it, but if they were to say, "Hey, we're implementing this in console," then it's like,
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for stuff like this
Yeah,
that's console based, right?
yeah.
Because Discord, you
I
need to be moving
agree.
away from Discord, like
I agree.
So I think impact on this would be pretty good. Yeah. Feasibility, most definitely. Team experience, most definitely. The innovation and quality, right? The quality, I think, is no problem, but the innovation itself, again, in Discord, there's lots of different types of Discord innovation
Yeah,
and stuff. So
yeah.
self-sustainability, I'm not too sure again about the monetization yet, but I'll look into that again in a second. The relevance to stacks, heavily relevant to stacks, because it would make every community be able to use really easy tools to be able to do growth and interaction in their communities. And the community sentiment, I mean, that's up to you guys. But yeah, I like this one. I do like it.
Personally, I like it a lot too. I like how they said that they already have the tech and they're willing to provide like a free version to Stacks. I thought that was really cool. Um, I feel in terms of like quote unquote the monetization or like the sort of building of the justification of the value. I feel like a community engagement. I would I would be curious as to what their plan would be to sort of coalesce the attention, because I feel like that's what would kind of make something like this. Can they get a group of people or a group of users united and all kind of engaging in one voice, saying that they really dig this tooling? And I feel like if they're able to do that, then that would definitely encourage the sort of like return, the reinvestment, or something like that. I do feel like if a tool like this just kind of was like tossed to the wind in a sense, and it didn't kind of catch on culturally, it would have some trouble sustaining. That was just really like my. But if it figured some kind of way to, you know, be a part of the conversation on a constant basis as these different NFT projects like go throughout their lives. If they're able to get that ball rolling, then I definitely see like a lot of great
Yeah.
things in store for this.
I think it takes like actual effort to like I think we've seen like a couple of things like this in stacks in the past, but without actually getting the adoption, and there's a lot of competition like from collab land and different toolings. Like everybody wants the NFT project to incorporate these toolings, unless you're super active in onboarding some of those projects. It can be a tooling that is very useful, but doesn't get project adoption. So project adoption is going to be quite key to the success of this, I think.
So just on that, when we look at some of the things, so for example, Parrot Radio has been established, as has an NFT gallery within the Pandemonium,
Yeah.
and they've made it now free to the community. Well, you can access Parrot Radio, anyone can. Yeah, and there has been a lower uptake from the Stacks on something that was developed from within the Stacks community. So that's probably more that developers have come out like this, have created a cool tool. It will now, I think, it'd be if we said, okay, if the community sees it, like I think Parrot Radio is an extremely useful tool, but it's about the community partnering with them to get
Uh-huh.
adoption.
Uh-huh.
Because if they just sit it there and don't talk about it,
Yeah.
and similar with this here, the question, I mean, I'd love to have to develop this, to come in and host the sessions about, what for them in their project, and how they've used it to, to grow their community. They've already spent around 15,000, or raised $15,000 so far for the project. So they can guarantee they can make it available to the Stacks community. What the $5,220 is for is to cover the Oracle hosting, security, and the database support. So yeah, probably, would be wonderful if this was something that was to get considered, was that they would be hosting a space with us on it and bringing in the potential customers and going through it and seeing if, really seeing if we can get an adoption, if it's a strategy that's going to be, from like Good Kitties Group, say, for example. I know Nita at the moment, we're talking about how to grow her community around her. So, as an individual artist, and how, different strategies to do that. So if these sorts of things assist them, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, Hero. I was gonna say, yeah, I think with what they, I see what you're saying with adoption with this one, but I think what they're with this one, which it seems to me anyway that it will definitely work for, is retention more. Yeah, because these what they've built, what they've put in the proposal, the other stuff that they built is gamification in a way of the community. So
Right.
it is more like retention. more than it
Mm-hmm.
is. And I see where Gordon's saying that as well, that it ties in, which kind of gave me another idea of like how we can kind of amplify maybe within stacks, like
Yeah.
certain things that are built by certain people maybe within
Mhm.
the community, like
Yeah.
so then that way, you know, people that, as Gordon said, the low uptake that we get from, let's say, people that are in a stats community, they always know that something kind of like exciting can be found maybe in a particular channel or something like that, right? So you know, I think maybe we need to. I think that ties into me saying at the end of obviously the degrants process, I think we need to have a way of being able to really communicate these people that are chosen, yeah, and something like that could tie into a tool like this because they could then go straight from that, and we could recommend, okay, there's this tool you can use that is going to help you to keep retention for your project, and your community. So I'm thumbs up for this one, and as you've put in the notes there, my only reservation is, can this be built in a completely web-free environment? Can it work on console? Yeah, and if it can work in a completely web-free environment, without, like, let's say Discord's an option or console's an option, right? Then yeah, it's pretty good for me, man. If you could connect it to something like D-Work even, or something that's like really really cool. So yeah, do you like it?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things in the establishments of the grants program was a call from the community supporting, particularly from the arts and creatives communities, that were in the ecosystem. They'd built a lot of tooling, but never got, it applied for the grants or anything for whatever the reason. So similarly here, they've applied before to the traditional grants but didn't receive them. Listen to Phase from Mega Ponzi's reference, Elos a reference. I guess that's the getting together and see if it's something that, if it would have to be something, I think that the community would go, yep, we would look to use this. We think it's a great idea, and it's going to help many artists. And if that's in Discord, yeah, sure, but also find out what their plans are for console. That would be my thoughts, because otherwise, yeah, if it's going to be something that's going to really advance all of these arts communities, and if they've used it in their own project in this way, that would be worth exploring from my point of view. The word token always gets you as well, again, always that regulatory risk. What that means, I don't know.
Okay, so shall we move to the next one? Just mindful of time.
Sure. Yep, recommend the stewards have a look at it. Good look at that one.
Yeah. By the way, just to reset, if anybody wanna help retweet this to the space, just so we get more people, as for transparency, or engage the conversation, feel free to retweet the Twitter space. Okay, so I think we looked at. Oh, sorry. Today's date is the 8th. This one is the 8th, and the Jungle Verse, I think, is the one we haven't reviewed.
Yes, let's jump down to that.
And also, if anybody down there wanna come up, feel free. I know Annabelle has an application, but if you can't speak, it's okay. We're just going through these that haven't been reviewed yet. Annabelle, I think Annabelle's already been reviewed. Cool. Yeah, so Jungleverse. Actually, one last comment about the tooling is it is not cheap, right? It's around 5,000, so we do need to think about take that into consideration too. For the ground, we're just poor, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had to think about that. So whereas something with the community, maybe they could do some sort of crowd fund around that as well.
You know what?
For half
About
of it or
that,
something.
the
Shows.
platform that what's his name? Owens is doing, like, anybody who doesn't get the grant. Like we should encourage them maybe to go to that platform and put the projects up there and have a community sort of until the next round, anyways, to have some crowdfunding. What do you think?
Yeah, it's how it's going to grow. It's like if
You
it's
know that platform I'm talking about, right, Gordon?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
my question, I had some questions about that, about their the holding of funds, and in regards to that project, the multi-sig, the funds are being, or
yeah.
how they're being locked up. But or I think it's a great idea.
I think peer to peer is most ideal. I think their funding for the one that is questionable is the one that's to do with, rather than if they can do P two P funding, but there's another functional thing which is stacking pool. So what you do is you lend your stacks to stack in this pool like advocates, and then they give out. It's almost like the advocates. You remember that how they distribute the money is based on your activity, I guess. So I think in their version, they have people controlling that and distributing that somehow. So there is going to be an intermediary there rather than the bot decides based on activities in the advocates. So I think that's the only difference. Maybe we can suggest them somehow for that to be more peer to peer. I don't know. Yeah, I think if that treasury or pool, maybe we have stewards as the signers or something. Or maybe not good. That gives liability. Or SCX token holders. Anybody can go vote. Maybe.
What project are you guys talking about? Because I was just reading through the Jungleverse. Sorry, go on.
Oh,
Is
sorry.
that
We were talking
that's
about.
Owen's? Is that Owen's
Oh,
project?
it's like a governance one, which is
Is that Stacks
number.
Open Gov you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
Yep, that's right.
Damn, we skipped Jungleverse. I thought we was ready to talk about
Yeah, no,
Jungleverse.
sorry. Because we were talking about if say some of these applications don't get funded, if a platform, a crowdfunding like that can help them
Yeah.
afterwards. Sorry, Jungleverse. Back to Jungleverse.
Yeah,
Okay.
so just on Jungleverse, I did have a look.
Mental.
The applicant has obviously got some good experience. Had a good look at his project there.
Mm,
Had some good experience in the metaverse space. Seems to be very active there. So yeah, I was one of the references was Natalie there.
right.
And I did ask just a question. I think with the, it's not an expectation, but just when newcomers come in, that just as to hear some of the current engagement with Stacks. So wonderful to have new people in, but how much are they, I guess, personally invested their time into Stacks community?
Mm,
So I go and have just in my reviews was just having a look to say, have they been turning up at spaces? Have they been active in any space that I can see in the Twitterverse? But yeah, so that was one of my questions.
yeah. My comment is more about the idea itself. I'm not sure about metaverse right now. I know it was a narrative, but I haven't seen any major metaverse idea really taken off in or outside stacks yet in the Web3 sense. Web2, I think, probably got bigger leg. But even the Web2 ones are sort of faltering, with the Meta doing their metaverse or, um, yeah. But I
Yeah,
do.
I think we'll see a resurgence again in the bull run.
Mm,
There's some companies heavily invested into these sort of spaces. From what I could gather, that they're looking for technical integration and blockchain, creating technical integration and blockchain transactions into the Jungleverse with multi-blockchain networks such as Polygon, Ethereum. So I haven't really made that poses technical challenges.
I think it's pretty big, a big lift though. It's not going to be easy to do this, and you have to be fully committed to do something like this.
I was literally going to say that. I was going to say that, like, even if they got the full 5K,
Yeah,
would
it's
they
gonna.
even get halfway through based on the
It's like
amount of
a
challenges there
drop
is?
in the drop in the bucket.
Especially pre Nakamoto, bro. Like, like for metaverse projects, I think we've had this lots of times in Stacks already.
Mm,
That like, metaverse projects, they always kind of in Stacks begin to build. Then there's the thing of maybe you have to do a sell or to do a raise, and then there's actually getting it to work with certain types of implementations. Again, post Nakamoto, you can do a lot more stuff, right? A lot of this stuff that's kind of like been put here, which is good for term again, because there's quite a lot of stuff in the long term would more be towards those kind of functions. I think it's like a good proposal, but I think it may be a bit too early for it. That's all I think. Like looking at
if I was a steward and I had to go through the 7 points, and you start to score impact, feasibility, definitely got team experience in metaverse, feasibility and impact, relevance to stacks doesn't look, unfortunately, haven't seen a lot of active participation in stacks. So in order to have something like this, you need to have a stacks community. Say, for example, like the Nullish guys, they're already very integrated into stacks, done a lot of stacks projects, have a lot of stacks customers, have a lot of trust within stacks. So a couple of those, if someone went through those 7 points, what's the likelihood of a grant? So that'd be have a look at that. But it would seem fairly low on the score.
Golden, you are a steward. Don't worry. You're going to be voting this. I see. No, you don't need to say you're not a steward. I'm definitely not a steward.
I've got the training. I'm just here to learn.
No, yeah. Everybody is is like that. So you're no different. Like everybody is learning.
So I'd always compare a project like this one, say, just to another one and see how it stacks up against that. There's others that have done a lot more effort, put in a way bigger effort to build themselves within the stacks community. Like Upper Reality's been turning up to lots of things, and that type of incentive.
Okay, shall we move to the next one now, maybe? So suggestion to him, like maybe post Nakamoto, incorporate SBTC of some kind, right?
Not necessarily has to be SBTC, but just I'd say it's more viable.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
is more viable after that.
It's true. Okay, Stacks for Dummies. I think he's one of the fairly sort of newish guy, French guy, enthusiastic, willing to sort of amplify the inch world, right? But I think he wants to do English content though. If I'm correct.
Sure. It's been great to see newcomers come in. They've been through I think it's a side. They've come through some sort of program. Obviously, gives them some training to immerse themselves into, a blockchain world. But yeah, pretty early days, I think, for this gentleman.
Member of other blockchain.
I think it comes back to a lot of the tools example, Leos and the likes. There's plenty of stacks for dummy education. I think it's a very important thing that we actually bring up these to the highlight, and we can have a look at the Stacks website, have a look to see if these basic tools for onboarding people are there, and we really build off those, because money's already been put in by the foundations into a number of onboarding projects.
Yeah,
that
I agree.
should be effective.
But we definitely love to have this guy around, and maybe there are some other ways for him to plug in, because there are lots of maybe if the Latin guys get funded, there are probably opportunities to leverage this gentleman's enthusiasm as well, particularly around maybe French content.
Yeah, I mean, I totally love the engagement from the applicant, and been a great start coming into the Stacks community. Has joined the Stacks advocates, and clearly wants to get involved in Stacks.
Yeah. Rashi, you have your hand up, Rash. You don't need your hand.
Yeah. No, you guys are talking. I don't want to interrupt. So, has he done any material like that before, or sample?
I think he's made threads. So I think his interest is making threads. If I'm right,
Okay.
I don't think he's building like a platforms of some kind, or maybe I don't
How
know.
Much is asking? How much is asking for?
2,000.
Okay. Can I just break that down? How many threads is he talking about?
Let me look at the.
See, the last time I went to the entire items.
Yeah.
A lot of them have great ideas.
Yes.
I'm really admiring. Problem is none of them are quantifiable.
Yeah.
And when you look at the cost broke down, it's very high on the manpower. I don't think it's wrong. It should be because you're putting your energy.
Yeah.
But if you think about what $5,000 buys you in the open financial in the open developer market, it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree.
we have to take into context like translation. Like me and you have chat in private, Hero, to an
Yes.
extent. I don't
Yeah.
think we should keep a cap like translation worth 1,500 at the most, because you can use AI. You can put the document straight, and all you're doing later just is checking the grammatical structure of the sentence and spellings. Are they correct? Do they make sense? Because the AI is going to do everything in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're spending a week and a half just going through the entire document, and you're
Yeah.
pitching for 1,500 for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we got to keep cap like that.
Yeah, if the community wants to cap certain things, it's up to you guys, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think we should let the community, to be honest. Um, Hero, I'm speaking very objectively because when it comes to money, people are not objective.
Yeah.
I'm not objective. I want to get as much as possible with the least amount of work.
That's the okay.
So look,
We are
just
all like that.
sorry, Rash.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no,
Alvin.
I was gonna let you guys finish, but it was just coincidental, Resh. I saw like more succinctly your notes in my application, and I'm in the middle of putting a response to some of like the more specific questions that you have. I know we talked about it yesterday, but I saw it now with just the words on the page, and so I'm writing a response, and I'm gonna just go ahead and put it in the same bubble, the same cell in the sheet, if that's okay with you, or would you rather me DM it to you?
No, put everything in the sheet so all the other students and Hero and all can have a read about the information, and they can make
Great.
a collective judgment.
Yeah.
Has anyone else made comments in the comments? Can only see my own.
You're not the only one.
Okay, Upper reality.
Resh
They are
did.
my comments.
It's my mistake. Resh did it in another column, the main column. Well,
I didn't even see Gordon's. I can see.
Sorry. I wasn't quite sure how to do this, so my gamble was put at the end. Actually, sorry. And then I was taking notes during the call, so I was like noting down. So I created a new column in the front of the page. Yeah, I don't know, man. Sorry.
Oh, cool. We'll have a look. So just on that one there, the Stacks for Dummies. Look, I think if we've got new people coming in, I really appreciate the enthusiasm. I've seen a couple of people come in through the side .xyz platform, which is obviously a platform. I think they offer courses to, basically create your own page to the side.xyz program is to unleash your Web3 magic. It's where creators, builders, and projects can gather to create magical internet experience. Look, hats off. They've obviously gone out to get tasks to do, and great to see them in the Stacks community. And his little project is called Interstacks. So let's see that grow and
Yeah.
from there. But definitely a no for me.
Okay. No, I think one of the thoughts, I think as we do these Degrants, the more I think about it, like for these kind of like your chapter stuff and all these onboarding and growth education stuff, I'm not for centralization generally, but I think like it makes sense for some of these efforts to be more centralizedly coordinated in some ways rather than everybody doing their own little education bit here and there, and we have like end up with like hundreds of little pieces yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be great for everyone to be in the Bitcoin builders, Bitcoin writers cohort. The
Oh
people
yeah.
that want to do the creative content. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
going to be a topic that's raised in there about how to leverage off existing, and that's sort of ultimately we're here to grow the whole platform, the community. If we grow a network effect, you don't have to be the lead person getting all the payment necessarily if you're just elevating and the likes. But as you become really skilled in that, and as hundreds of projects get built, if they've got the skills and the commitment to it, they can actually join other projects like founders because they're creators, and join other founders to help them, become a community
Yeah.
manager for that founder.
Yeah. No, so it's almost like, yeah, I think content creators support the chapters, and these guys have been through certain certified this, and now they're ready to support the ecosystem, right?
Yeah, I'm going to look forward to speaking with Resh and Nat from Stacks on just about the communication that they do and how to best do that going forward for Stacks Australia, and I'm going to learn a lot from the riders cohort to best leverage our Stacks, and so yeah, it's definitely something on our radar to be as most efficient and conservative on the spend.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move to the next one. Twitter education content for Stacks. Blah 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 blah. Is it the advisor? Oh yeah. We know he can write. He hasn't been as active in Stacks like before. So it's kind of a little bit challenging for me.
Yeah, my comments on that one, I said, look, I really did recall when I first came into Stacks, the advisor was reactive, I thought.
Yeah,
And I used to
I
actually
see your comment.
really enjoyed his engagement there in those early days, but seemed to have disappeared a bit.
Yeah,
So yeah, my recommendation was to join the builders, the builders on Bitcoin Stacks Riders cohort. Like I said again, they're going to be going through key projects to SBTC and the likes, and it's an opportunity for these guys to partner up, leverage off top of Stacks, and partner up with these new projects. Already got a good track record. I think that's where their work is going to come.
yeah. Rash made a comment about, is it the money side of things?
I'm not at a laptop, sorry. Can you just read me what I
Okay, let
commented?
me read your comment out. So just to help you remember, need to check with Rick as name referenced as a person who has seen content material. If it meets foundation standard, 3 months of work for 500 per month is value for money. Just need to agree on what it entails. So it looks like you're saying the request is 1,500. It's a little bit high. Maybe 500 is better. And just need to cross check with foundation.
No. So what I said was, if he has put materials out, and it meets the standard of Rick, because Rick does all this for Stacks Foundation
Right.
online, and if his reference Rick has seen his work, and if Rick is giving a sign off saying, yeah, I've seen, I'm happy with the work, it gives us, so number one, meets the standard in terms of the quality. And if he's doing it for 3 months, and we just need to confirm how much is he going to do every month. Now we break it down 1,500 to 3 months, and he said, I'm going to do every week five times or 3 times per week. And this is the material I'm going to put up. Now, if you break it down, it's going to be valuable because it costs about £100 a week, $100 a week. So from a cost perspective, it's very cost effective. If he has past materials like Rick has seen, we can look at a track record, and we can also see Stacks Foundation if he meets the standard. So there's quality control there.
Weekly hour dedicated creating content, engagement through comments. So what he's proposing essentially is creating threads and engage with those threads.
Yeah, the only problem with that is he's only made the statement. He has not quantified again. Problem is a lot of the things, no quantification.
Yeah, no, how many threads, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How many threads, right?
Yeah, in the past has done some significant threads. I did go back to his Twitter, and there's a thread of all of the threads, and there was a lot of content there.
My challenge with some of these stuff is the content get out of date. Therefore, you're almost trying to play catch up every time. You can be writing in content, but 3 months down the line, it's not relevant anymore. And therefore, some of the content are basically useful, but not like as useful as it was. So, yeah, I don't know about this personally.
Also, it's an effort to basically to your self-sustainability plans to grow his own Twitter account, which is awesome. But strive compensation through ad payments but overseeing social media and marketing teams for these projects. So again, getting a lot of these content creators, I think, are working hard to get in with establish themselves as very good content creators to partner up with the teams that are coming on. There's many of them, and as they get the funding, if you're that good, then they're going to onboard you. It's a bit like, say, Eli Herf was applied and got onboarded to Gamma. That's ultimately where these guys would be going. They create huge content but through the apps that are being created.
Mm. Okay, guys. Next one. Shall we move to the next one, or you wanna?
Yeah,
Yeah, Nat, you haven't spoken.
yeah, no, I mean, look, like, I think for me, like, I kind of look at it as well from the positive side is that the advisor definitely again that, like, you know, when we came in, you know, Gordon, like as well, like the advisor was like, you know, like definitely putting it down like a lot on Twitter, man, and maybe there's a way for him to just, I don't know, maybe he wants to build it as like a Twitter community, maybe like the advisor, Stacks advisor, something like that. I don't know, but I think it'd be pretty good because yeah, a lot of new people came in, and maybe it's, even if it's just him getting his dues, man, for all them friends that he did before. You know, I should have said to you, like, I kind of think that that's okay. You know, I should have said at the same time, like, if he's going to be active now with new
Yeah.
content, then yeah, bro, like,
Yeah. So looking
I'm
at
for
his
that.
sort of Twitter, right? Just because I guess he will be posting on Twitter. He is mainly posting stack stuff, but he hasn't really posted much since like April time. So yeah, he's not as frequent as before. Um, so
Yeah, I
that's
mean, it all gets understandable. You know, our time is our most valuable asset, and
yeah,
if you're not being rewarded to entertain the masses, to help educate and that, then you know people will probably move on to other things, or they get involved in other projects. So it is
yeah,
great to see him back, no question, because he was an entertaining writer, definitely when I first came in. That's for sure.
yeah.
Inspired me a lot.
I guess it's what format is the best distribution method for somebody like him. Is it through the Degrants, or is it reactivating like advocates, and through the advocates you uh, fund people like that doing Twitter tweet threads? Um, Rather than as a single one-off application, because like a one-off application, I can imagine, yeah, he will deliver what he's asked to, what he promises, but then after that, like nothing will keep him going. Like some of these stuff are more like ongoing. It feels like, particularly with this kind of thread, like, do we want to pay someone for 3 months, and that's the period like he will be putting out, like, or is it better for more frequent distribution and smaller distribution? So as they do it, like through the advocates program, like this kind of stuff gets rewarded and constantly incentivized. Would be a question, a tangential question I would throw to the rest of you, I guess, because we do need to have a way of rewarding these people. But I think the most suitable channel or avenue, maybe not through this grants. I just mean like we want to reward them, but the format of which is the channel is a different, and we do need to set up more channels for different types of um, rewarding people, I guess. And that's why sometimes I like, do we need to have retroactive funding or microfunding? Is because some of these challenges we're coming up right now. Do you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a really good question. It's something I
Because
wanted to.
unless we come up with something, we're gonna keep getting application like this. Um, we just not solving the root problem unless we spin up a different, more appropriate channel of rewarding these people for content creation or for Latin effort or translation effort. I guess goes back to conversation advocates.
Yeah, I'd be definitely happy to raise this in our chapter meet this week. It is something for like I said, for ourselves as to what amount of time, effort, and committing a person within a chapter to do content and what's relevant. How much do we need to do? What's you got to really think. These community grants program really help you think about these things. Where's and and it may be that case that the advocates need to apply if they're not going to have a microfunding program. They do make an application once they're reorganized to be able to reward the content creators.
Yeah. For me, it's just about like, for example, if we have 25,000 and then we set aside 5,000, for example, for a program like that, in my opinion, but obviously not this time, but maybe when we grow 30K, 40K, 50K, that a proportion of that can really, uh, I think we just need better synergy amongst all the different programs. That's all. And yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And the advocates, we're meant to have an advocates meeting morning. I think it's been postponed to the 14th for newcomers, but let's raise this in the advocates and let's really get that moving.
Yeah, I guess it's almost like, if I don't think about the word advocates, like Stacks ambassadors, and Stacks ambassadors would be writing some of these threads um, in different languages, maybe. And then if we do want that, I guess the first question to ask is, do we want something like that? And if people agree yes, then can there be a well organized program that we need to make certain adjustments to advocates program, I guess, which I think is worth it, to be honest. But just my take, though. Don't take my words.
No, it's
Just
great. I think we've got plenty of smart minds in here within advocates and likes to ambassadors, advocates to get this nutted out and really get an action plan going. Is
I
there going
think
to be
it's
micro?
just yeah, I think it's just interesting. Like doing these degrants help surface some of the rails that we're still missing in the ecosystem. I personally think that is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think looking at the different models, I did get an email. I think, referencing back to what is the model that the foundation are using, and that is the orbit model of you've got your explorers, you've got your participants,
Yeah.
and then you've got your contributors.
Mm.
And obviously, they're people that are more active, like over time, um, the advisor has been a contributor. And so, because the next level step up is the leaders of a team
Later,
where you're
yeah.
running a chapter. So the contribute what's going to be in place for the contributors, and how can they be focused on, okay, we're doing this month or that
Mm.
month, and there's obviously got to be a collective. So happy to raise
Yeah.
that in the chapters.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned once, or somebody mentioned about like talent retention too. Like some people like Natalie, and there we need to have a good way to when they're active and leading and contributing. If we don't just reward them in any kind of shape or form, is we're gonna start to lose people, right? And we do like ecosystem is or any company is made up of people that is then there's the talent, so we do need somehow to think about that too. But I think this conversation is probably important to have probably in December, like after our allocation. We should talk more about this.
Yeah, perfect. This is awesome. And like they said a bit earlier, there was the application for the 500 a month. 250 to 300 a month in stacks is probably a very significant reward for people to stay, where they're actual significant contributors. Are we? So we're going to move on to the next one.
Oh yeah, sorry. Let's do it next one.
So we is an orange. Oh,
No, the next one is, I think, the code. One of the David is wrong. David.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
And
I
we
think
may.
he wants to do
Yeah, he
boot
was
camp.
here before.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was here before. Unfortunately, he's left. I don't know if we can get him back. Sorry, we should have grabbed him.
yeah. No, I tried to invite him up. He just couldn't connect.
Yeah, so I guess the boot camp here. I think we may have some of the guys from one of the guys from Orangeville down below there. Hopefully, in a minute. So when we get to that.
Oh, okay.
So David's project here. Yeah, they had asked for a significant amount of money to run something fairly significant. So we had asked him, Sam had given him some very good tips on where that was going. I had asked there, had he spoken to Adam yet about this?
Yeah.
Because it was like a Ready Layer 2 event they were proposing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, it would have been great to talk to him about that, where he's at now. We'd also suggested to him about finding venues which are, around universities. Surely they can get something for free.
Mm-hmm.
Running a big event like this would require partners, no questions about
Right.
it.
Right.
It's a fairly, pretty significant project. The questions you would ask: have you run an event like this before?
Before.
What
Okay.
partners have you got?
Uh
Looking
huh.
at the most effective way of doing it. But look, I think David's enthusiasm is incredible, and I think this is what it takes, is to take the lead and
Uh
to
huh.
do these things, because they're just not going to happen, and they can grow themselves a business out of it, basically. So I'm not sure. Yeah, this just coming back with some questions there, because obviously finds a significant amount for starters, but otherwise, a lot of metrics that you could consider is, what's the impact? Well, their proposal there is a major push to move into the universities, and there's a number of people working on these projects to really come up with some good models to attack the university scene.
Right.
Um,
Do you mean like a push from foundation in the want to go towards university?
I think it's grassroots from the chapters and the likes
Oh, right.
that yeah, really, yeah, there has been a grant that was provided to Connecticut University for some curriculum
Mm,
work done. So there's a number of, yeah, and then within the chapters, Stacks London, Indonesia, Stacks Australia, we're all at and around universities and really actually making an effort to get clarity as an actual language to be taught into the universities. Or if it's, so NIA has another way of interacting with the universities by running, boot camps. So this one here is more of a boot camp. So very similar to what Benai has done. Um,
mm,
so NIA did receive some small amounts of funding from, I believe, from some people within Stacks. But yeah, he gathered together a number of resources and then committed his own time. So it
right.
would be something like, if Benaiah was doing something next, I would think that he's already got the runs on the board. He's already done something. He's probably, in retrospect, would be more eligible for a grant. If you had two to assess, well, that'd be, I put to the stewards, which one would you choose?
Yeah.
Backing Benaiah to do the next one,
Yeah.
or they're all important. These are all super
Yeah, yeah.
important
I
projects.
think it's just more proven, I guess, in a simple sense of what you're saying. And yeah, I think it's just about even if we don't fund this guy or if the stewards choose not to, like if we wanna sort of keep this guy enthusiastic, right? And help him grow so that he can become the next for wherever.
Yeah, there's obviously got a number of projects that the stewards are going to have to choose between, and
Yeah.
it's going to come down to, there are some very great projects. Annabelle's project, this project, the work that Benai is doing, they're all three great projects. For example, if you had to choose between three, that's what the stewards would have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
whether they decide to allocate, small amounts of funding to each of them. It may be, well, if you've raised 1,000 here and you've got 1,000 there from a partner, and you're
Mm,
putting in, whether the stewards go, well, we're going to give you 1,000 each, to get you moving because you're doing it anyway,
yeah.
and supporting it. That could
Yeah.
be worth looking at.
Yeah, I'm very open to that kind of stuff. Well, I like the sound of that kind of stuff. If we have to, just help some of these guys, we know we like their idea. We just want to spend a little bit money, even if rather than getting nothing, it's just like if some of the project can receive a little bit, that'll be great.
Yeah, it could be, the case of, the retention.
Yeah,
We could say, what is sustainability? If they're really
yeah,
impactful, generally people do stay if they can be more impactful. So I
mm,
think it's pretty in this D grants, because this is like the community grants lower level, which
yeah,
wouldn't get funded by the foundation, like not a chapter grant or not a.
yeah,
So it may be a good strategy for the stewards to look at, to do some distribution, do some
yeah.
content creators or event organizers.
No, I agree,
Um,
agree, agree. Because I don't know how many times people have come up with, oh, what they want to do something. And then I said, hey, Adam, it looks like your wheelhouse. And I send them to Adam and other people in Stack Foundation, and then they send me back. Or they don't hear from them. So there's definitely a mechanism that needs to be built and missing. So I think what you're suggesting makes sense to me.
Yeah, if you've got a situation where you've identified some people go, look, we can't fund your whole project, but are you doing this anyway? You're
Mm,
already a major person in Stacks that's doing
yeah,
things. And if you've got like 10 projects putting out a lot of noise
yeah,
about doing a lot of things and they're doing it anyway,
yeah.
it can be that incentive we've got, rather than just go, oh, look, I didn't get the 5 grand, I'm not doing it at all. And you've got
Mm,
like 10 not doing it at all,
yeah.
if they've got suitable funding from sources as well. Anyway, just some thoughts.
Yeah, agree. Okay, shall we try the next one? Orange Pill India. I don't know if somebody down there is related to this project.
Tushar, are you with the Orange Pill project? I was just looked through the list, but I saw that you are from India there. If you are available, put your hand up and come up on stage.
Did you see his name in the sheet?
I'm just having a look, but being from India anyway, I think that's what it says in Tushar's bio. It'd be good to hear from someone from that area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I did have a good look at this project. It'd be great to have the guys here. We've obviously got a real strategy to drive adoption in India. It's called Orange Pill India. So they have a whole website. So it's a Bitcoin onboarding education mechanism. So, you know, to include stacks. So yeah, I did have some notes there. So, you know, I think India is clearly a massive market. We did have a chapter in India before. So, you know, I like the ideas. I had questions for them. Have they connected with the guys from Stacks India? Because what happens, I've found that the chapters around the world, funding runs out and they disappear. Doesn't mean to say they have disappeared entirely. Like Korea, say, for example, have a developer house, which do things for Stacks, but you don't see, you know, necessarily, not referencing to Stacks Korea, they might be quite active, but some of these, like the Stacks India Twitter is dead. The Stacks India Telegram is dead. So it was probably going, well, yeah, how could we build off the foundation of what was already built?
If
So
if this thing was like Orange Pill Latin, I think it can tag really well to like a whole Latin effort because like we don't have any like advocacies for India right now, right? And then you have maybe a good idea here, but then you have a complementary effort to go along with it. Then you know it's just gonna get lost, even if it's a good idea.
if these guys were going to become the leading orange pill space for India, awesome. We'd want Stacks in there. I've asked them, have any of them completed Clarity Camp or Clarity Trainers? Because they were talking about doing an education platform. Yeah, I just wanted to know what they've done within Stacks because I couldn't find anything predominantly.
Yeah,
Asked them,
yeah,
did they attend the Ready Layer 2? Did they attend the BTC Startup Lab? Are they participating in the developer release? I mean, if you want to build ask $9,000 from the community, you know, I want to know what they're seeing. Vela is on their website, so they've obviously participated through Mithal, and you know, so you know that seems to be a connection there.
yeah.
But I'd like to see them here turn up. Where are they? I can't see them anywhere in
Yeah,
Stacks.
so I did actually reach out to Rainfire, who is the CEO of Vela, when I saw his name was referenced. Actually, messaged him like some weeks ago, maybe 27 weeks ago. He did say he knows Orange Pill India. I know Saswat, I think the name. Personally, from the team, I am supporting Orange Pill India. They are good guys. So it sounds as if, you know, they got good people, good potential, but just not really like as deep and as involved in stacks. So I agree with you, but just to give that extra point of reference, I actually messaged Rainfire from Villa.
Yeah, so I'd be happy to have a session with those guys. Like again, the chapter, I'd love to have a session with them and a full session about, you know, what their strategy is in Stacks. Have they got developers wanting to onboard? You know, before
Yeah,
they launch off into an education program, well, let's have a look at all of the tools available in Stacks. So I'd really like to see those guys connect with us, maybe, you know, like through advocates. And I think from our learning in that Twitter space the other day, having a real onboarding vehicle. Okay, guys, you want to be prominent players in the marketplace here, and you want to bring on developers or users, but let's get into the machine and work as
yeah,
a coordinated effort, and give you all the tools you need. That's just
right.
some of my thoughts.
Cool. Nat, are you?
Yeah, bro. Like my I think I'm pretty going along with Gordon there for a minute, but yeah, I think my thoughts is how do they build it out, yeah, into something like a bit more expansive and so, you know, what is their strategy for doing that? Like, but then again, you know, as you guys said, when again, also what Gordon said is the activity. Like, if there's no activity already, then like, you know, it's a lot of dough to be asking for, considered, you know, what this first cohort is. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
agree.
if we looked at the Agor app, which is another education process, so both India, Orange Pill India education and Agor, I think at this stage Agor app's something that's would have had way more support from reviews so far. and something which is a tool which can be used by Orange Pill India and others to without creating education systems in every part of the world. So I had questions, in India, is it mostly an English population? How does that work? So there's quite a bit when you go to a country, like say for example, Spanish is one of the 4 top languages in the world. I don't know what it is over in India. Is it mostly English as well? That was another question I had.
Okay. Shall we try the next one? We're almost there. Oh my god, that's crazy. Integrate Stacks wallet to pass me cash. I think I had a pretty decent look, and I thought like it's not gonna. I don't think like it's gonna make any. Well, I just didn't think it was necessary for this particular integration when I last looked at it and understood. Um, but I don't know enough about it. It seems to be a platform that they want to integrate stacks. It's almost like yeah, I think they even went on the website, guys. Pass me cash. Do you guys have any thoughts? Pass me cash. Hello?
Yeah, just having a quick look here. So previously had a grant from Stacks.
I
Just having a look at
remember
that.
one of the problem I had with this. If I can find a website, let me check. Pass me cash. It just didn't look like a legit website. So I was like, what's up with this? Decentralized banking. Yeah, it seems to be what's his name? Um, who is proposing it? Ons
Algaski.
Ogassi. I mean, I know he's active, right, in the Stacks ecosystem.
Yeah, I previously got a grant for $10,000 for blood fuse,
Yeah. I
which
think.
is not
I
doesn't
remember
appear to be
now.
running anymore.
If you look at, yeah, so I think that's one of the sort of not red flag per se, but one of the questions I had. I actually had a conversation with him about this in Discord. So actually, if you go to the governance channel, I did ask him, "Oh, what happened to your blood fuse? Because your past grant, I want to know whether you delivered it." And yes, said basically he got 5K, two separate grants actually. One is 10K for UI. Oh my god, it's incredible. And then 25K for development or something like that. And then he said, and I asked him, is it running? He said basically is relaunching it. It didn't go well. The launch didn't go well, but they are putting underground work for relaunch the platform. And I did have a look his Medium. So my reservation with this is like, people try to do so many things, and if he wants to relaunch that and do this, I just don't think it's viable, like simply from resource perspective. And my worry is obviously he didn't seem to have delivered that blood fuse like as well as he could, so it does make me question about this specific one. I know it's not a lot of money, but I also couldn't see a legit website for Pass Me Cash. And when I last looked at it, it looked like some dodgy site. So I'm not convinced there is a need for this either. Um, and just also because I don't even know what is Pass Me Cash. It doesn't have a website. It does, if it's a decentralized banking system, maybe it should have a website, but it just doesn't, or any information on Twitter. For me, it's a definite no, if I have to say. I mean, I do like the guy though; he's active, but
Yeah, Pass Me Cash is a Web3 banking system to accept crypto and fiat. So is that an exchange?
if you Google Pass Me Cash, you will see like his name comes up, and there's a website link. maybe even on LinkedIn, but it just doesn't seem to have, the website doesn't work. Actually, last time I looked at it, the website did work, but it looks like some website just put up didn't have any detailed information about what the company is or who runs the company at all.
Sure.
For me, it's a little bit dodgy.
I'm scared to connect on the websites.
No, no, it's just passmecash.com. It's fine, but it just doesn't work. But last time I think it worked, and then it just didn't have any information.
Just pass me cash.
I think if it's a legit crypto rail or what, it should have a legit site, right? So I
Yeah,
don't
the
know why.
LinkedIn has no ads in 8 months, so I'd be very
Yeah,
interested to see where they're going with it.
for me, it's a definite no, guys. But you guys decide. I'm just presenting the information to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm out on that one still.
I'm out on that. If it was
Okay.
if it was to integrate into BitGet or something, which is going to bring on 1 million users, that'd be a different story.
Yeah, and I love like more integration in the third world. I think you know what RSK is doing is super amazing. That, um, but I just don't think this project is as legit as it presents, and it should be much more legit. If it's Pass Me Cash is a legit decentralized banking system, it should have a website, and it just really worries me. Like this money gonna go down the drain.
All good. Next.
Right, like, hold on. Sorry, I just had to just look at this one part that they said here, which was to decentralize agents. I'm like, it sounds like farties to me still. So I'm just a bit, yeah.
If anybody wants to fund this, I'm gonna like veto.
Like, I'm wondering,
Actually, I don't.
I'm
I can't
wondering if it's
even
like,
veto.
what if it's like, like decentralized agents? Like, it's supposed to be like Whirlpool or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, and there's nothing. And it says one STX wallet authentication to be completed in 2 weeks. STX wallet creation on Password Cash to be completed in 2 weeks. That's what it says. Like, so it's
yeah.
like,
No, Natalie, what do you think?
I love thievery and scams. It's kind of obvious to people.
Well, guys, I think it looks like we have reviewed everything apart from one last one, but it's a little bit more technical. So, I mean, I'll probably read it out just for you guys to see if anybody got the knowledge. But Golang SDK is the application, and it was actually one from Stacks on Chain. The co-founder of Stacks on Chain, I think they fell out, but anyways, his name is called Anon on Chain right now on Twitter. So he seems to be technical. He was submitting a ZK research. I don't know if you guys were there when we were talking about it. But yeah, he basically said he can't handle that one, the ZK research and doing some ZK stuff. So he wants to withdraw the ZK. Actually, I haven't taken it off. And he wants to resubmit a more a one that he can manage with his bandwidth. So he suggested doing a Golang library of some kind. If you guys know much about it, please say it now. And I did
yeah,
ask Bryce.
Golang for Stack sounds kind of hidden, definitely.
He has said like I did ask him about this. He said Bryce mentioned. I just asked Bryce like what the hell this is. So he said that Bryce said no. He said right. I was suggesting that Swift or Kotlin SDK might be more useful because we know people who would use for mobile. I haven't heard anyone building anything in Golang yet. If they have a good use case for Golang, that's fine too. So I guess the question comes down to: do we have people who want to use it?
Yeah, I think yeah, this is a longer term. Saying that, this seems like a longer term kind of yeah, I'd say if there's better implementations that those guys have suggested, right, then I think that maybe go with what is the suggested implementation right about now, and then this could be a thing to kind of like, you know, have other these other kind of like SDK implementations for stacks, you know. It could become its own little thing, maybe. So I think that maybe like even widening it out with that to make it like maybe even governing a set of proposals to develop different SDKs. It could yeah, from that angle is where I'm kind of looking at. Given the advice, the feedback that's been given already there, right? It's like maybe there's room for maybe there's room for like, maybe it's like I don't know, specialist reviewer or something like that, where they can review just all these kind of SDK applications that may pop up in the future, something like that.
Yeah,
You know, something like that. I think that the money would be well spent doing that. But like you said, I don't think if the advice is different, that Golang is the spot to be. We build it with something else more prominent or more needed now, and then do Golang at a later date.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would say anyway. Like it's more like you said about what people are in right now, or what people are. I mean, there's a suggestion here that Go Ethereum, you know, had a takeoff, but I would say that was about maybe could have been when Golang was kind of like a
Man,
real thing, like when it was
man, you know what,
really brand new.
guys? You know what? I have the perfect solution to get feedback on this. Purple Pill Friday.
Yeah, Purple Bill Fridays. It just
Bec-
started too.
because actually this was submitted in the main grant critical bounties, I think, and Will wrote a whole post about the wish list to see, and actually Brad commented a lot. Whatever, I don't know why. There was a lot of, so it would be great to ask Dan and Brad about this application.
So does that mean that we are wrapping up this space, yeah,
We are
and going
wrapping
into Purple
up.
Pill Fridays?
Thank you guys so much for your time, man. It was great
Thank you
session.
very much, people. Thank you
Um,
very much. I'm
There were,
gonna repost Purple Pill Fridays at the top
so
so that people know.
So guys, so I have a proposal for you guys to try and nail down because it's kind of hard to nail down to, I know. Um, so we can either just like talk it out onto the space with various key leaders of the stewards, say, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Alternatively, using like, but how are we gonna hash it out, right? So one of the suggestion came out was, if you were to put like if you had to choose how to allocate 5 or 10 projects, like basically each person picks their note down. It's almost like how we group find one time through like those calendars sort of platforms. Like you have the hot area, everybody can attend like 2:30. So what I'm thinking is we could, I don't know if it's an addition to the number scoring because people did haven't really scored, and I worry like we're just not gonna get the scores. Or maybe they should. Like maybe I just do a harder push for them to do the scoring. But
I think personally, it's going to be much easier to if as many people are there can't attend, you know, like to do it. It's much easier though to get as many people as we can in and discuss and go through again, kind of like one by one, what has been gone through, read out the notes, and just score based on the review criteria. So maybe one of us that's hosting or co-hosting is just constantly reminding people of the review criteria for each vote.
mm.
So that's the
but
reset for the
but how
league,
are you
right?
gonna nail down to the final run? Is it like
We'll just have to total it up and on scoring, innit? Once it's all booted, then it's just totaling it up on scoring, whatever the
I mean,
scoring is.
scoring is only a point of reference. It's not like the high risk goes through. I think.
Well, I mean, obviously, with the scoring, we'll be able to look at and narrowing it down in it.
Oh
Whatever's
right,
got
I
like,
see. I
let's
see.
say below a certain threshold, right? So if one's the lowest and six is the highest, right? Then let's say anything that ends up, if we look at the total, that you can possibly get, first of all, right?
Mm.
And then we say anything that's not over the midpoint of what you totally possibly get is advice. Do you understand, right? And anything over that midpoint is considered, right? And then we could have like an upper threshold and say, like anything over this particular score maybe is going to be very heavily feasible.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess what you're saying is scoring is I mean, I guess it was always some kind of intention. Scoring help us narrow the list down, right? And then from that narrower list, we can go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm just worried like nobody's scoring. So, um, Natalie, have you scored? Do you want to score?
Not you trying to blast me out.
Sorry.
I am gonna do it. I just had a really crazy week, and so I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it.
No, no, no,
Um,
no. So it was just like, no, no, I didn't. It wasn't at you personally or something like that.
don't
So,
make me fight you. I just, we just became friends, so I'm just saying.
yeah.
Um, I could take that back any day. My
Uh,
my only question, I know that Purple Pills, like, actually, let me save this in my spit thing right now. That we're about to all go over there, but like the scores just being like a reference is interesting to me, because otherwise, like, this, how you like finalize like a list so that it's not like subjective or like random, or people are not that I see the stewards or advocates doing any of this, but like that they're putting forward like certain proposals that maybe wouldn't pass like muster, although we do have a really incredible slate of like projects that were submitted. And so
mm,
if it's based on like various factors, like let's say that and convey that to like people. But I don't know that it's, for me, not just a point of reference, because like we have a clear like rubric of like that's on that sheet of like what
mm,
we're scoring for. So
right.
what are the,
So,
are there other things that are factored in? And so like we need to make that clear to people. So
I mean, from your experience, I know you did some reviews in the past, right? And you're familiar with the scoring system. So, did you always go by the true score at the end of the, and then just that's the actual, not just a point of reference, but actual how you decide and how you allocate money?
yeah, because I mean, otherwise it's subjective, right? Like, so
Yeah.
like the California Arts Council, they have a very strict like rubric thing that they go by, and so like it's like whoever has the top, like say the projects that have like 5 or 6 points, like those projects go to the top, and then they're reviewed and vetted for like any like discrepancies or anything, and then there's a pretty extensive and very intensive like process, but there sometimes projects seem good, but like we just had a conversation today. Well, you guys did. I was listening.
Mm,
Why is this music? Where's the music coming from? Oh, my headphones. Um, and so it's just we have to make where it's not subjective, and we have to like clarify. And so that process mad crazy, but like very great projects were like started out because they weren't feasible or whatever the thing was, right?
yeah.
And so if there's like a wild card, then we need to be like
Mm,
very clear about like that project. But if it was, I just think we need to follow the rubric, like basically,
mm,
I,
and push people to vote.
yeah, no, I agree, and I also think that that when it comes down to kind of like looking at the budgets here as well, like I
mhm,
think we need to be kind of realistic as well about the one choose, not that they just fit into the budget, but that some projects it could be possible that they are made a different offer, yeah, in terms of what they're actually asking for. So we need to look at how maybe if they took a lower bounded budget, um, their project would be affected. So, but I'd say, as Natalie just said quite eloquently there, getting that scoring system in is the reason for being able to have a narrowed down selection process in the first place. So, so definitely.
Maybe
yeah.
go ahead, Hero.
Oh no, I was just saying yes. You go.
Maybe because I'm happy to like we can jump on a call or whatever and brainstorm or whatever. But like maybe a thing is like, can we do like the scoring and like commit to that process? And then are there projects, like what projects have surfaced to like maybe the threshold was like 4 or like whatever, um whatever the median, whatever kind of score is, what are those projects and how much are they all asking for collectively? Just because somebody asked for $10,000 doesn't mean that we actually need to give them $10,000. Maybe the pool, because it's $25,000, we can just say, hey, like you asked for 5,000, could you still do your project on 3,000, and
Yeah.
this is a contingency. And so but at the least, like, let's score everything and then
Yeah.
say what projects have surfaced to the top, and let
Yeah.
those that finalized list of scored projects be the discussion and not going through every single one?
Let that final list surface. And what was the next comment?
So surface in terms of like the top projects
Yeah.
after the scoring process. The conversations that, in my opinion, we should be having next week are like, are there any discrepancies in any projects that have had a high score?
Yeah.
Do a little bit of vetting. Like, is there any like holes? Are any of these people scammers? Like etc. Like, is this project feasible? Does it meet each of these like guidelines? And just do like a rough like run through. And
Mm-hmm.
then what are and then I forgot the next step I was thinking, but I'm happy to brainstorm and think on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think brainstorming on a set of follow up questions in that sense, Natalie, is definitely the way forward. Like, if to follow up, it's a lot simpler than maybe doing like this, and maybe creating a just with the selected that we have sent them like a follow up form to complete. To ask for certain discrepancies and stuff like that. And the case is just as we both were saying, just then of looking at the budget, and does that budget fit within the 25k? If it doesn't,
Yeah.
how do we trim offers? Like, it's not a case of like, okay, we're not prepared to give you this money, but if it doesn't fit, where's your lower bound?
Yeah. I think so. We do want scoring, which I kind of agree. But I guess that will only take us like halfway, right? And then the rest of the things, because even if we have all the scorings in, we're gonna end up with say 5, 10 strongest ones or most interested ones, but it's still maybe too big for our money. Then do we want to look to fund all of them, or do we want to cut down some of them, and then negotiate?
We can negotiate again. Like, I'm just gonna position that we don't have to give. Say again, if a project asks for $5,000, that doesn't mean, and that's for like any grant that you apply for in IRL. Like, just because you ask like a foundation for $15,000 doesn't mean you're at $15,000. Almost 90 million% of the time, like, you're going to get less than you asked. So like,
Mm.
the final the let maybe it's like we have these conversations about the short list that people get past the cut
Yeah.
for this round. That let's duke it out in these like Twitter spaces about like specs and any discrepancies or scams or kind of file through them like very briefly. Like, spending too much time is not going to surface anything more than a short period of time. And then like let's that from that list, like the people who pass that kind of second round, I like the idea of doing the follow up. That sounds good. Like, if we award you $3,000 as opposed to $5,000, can you actually like execute your project?
Mm.
And here are like this whatever. Like, we don't have to give them the amount that they asked for.
Yeah.
Hero, can I just ask you, Natalie, given that we were doing the review, like, first of all, there was the first round of people coming and talking about their projects, getting some advice, and those things. And then the second was to do the reviews. I've had less participation, or somewhat, I think, less participation from the actual applicants in those reviews. But from those reviews, it's been quite a diversity across different topics, stewards, different spaces. So it's been quite decentralized in that it's not just been the same 3 people reviewing all the time. So out of that, did we have a list of the actual ones which those reviews actually, group of reviewers actually have said they're out? And so we then narrow them down. Do they need to be scored by everyone, or do you just asking that question because of the time involved for the stewards to go through every project will be very extensive, or is that just what's expected of them? So I had 2 questions there.
Are you
So
asking?
I guess at Crossfire, the ones that are Crossfire, Diddy obviously attended those spaces. He obviously did review them in detail, and he's already given his score. But the other, I guess, stewards that were in spaces already, they haven't scored them along the way. So yeah, it's just trying to work out what's the appropriate principle operating under.
Are you asking me, right? Or
Yeah, sure.
oh,
So
Natalie, Natalie.
yeah, or Natalie, I mean, there was, say, for example, is it sufficient that between the collect we're here reviewing, say, for example, the blood guys integration into the former blood guys, the integration of the wallet, it was sort of a consensus within the group that was a no. Is that sufficient, or all the stewards have to go in and note the same?
I think in the future, as we scale, I think it's probably really hard to make everybody sort of present there. And I don't know. For me, I like to think like the NFT guys and music guys and agree to allocate and just trust that process. Trust the people with the knowledge. Like you guys understand the community the best and understand education and onboarding the best. That's somebody from the developer who were not there. Like I think, oh, maybe like let's say even take the example of let's say who else is community guys like algorithm, not here, but he is also part of this cohort. Seven people, or Sam is not here. You know, he has really good things to say, and but we made a decision on this Twitter space without them. Like I think if the decision is public and is well discussed, and you guys make the best judgment on the day, like this is a no, I think other stewards should trust you. But I guess they need to know the decision and have a way to raise any concerns and object to or veto, or maybe not veto, but if they have any issue with that after being notified this is the case, um, yeah, I don't know. I think it should be okay.
Yeah, Natalie, just because you've been in lots of these types of things, is that what are your thoughts on that?
I think ultimately we'll have thousands of applications. We have to have a very clear process, like pushing forward, and like I love experimenting with you all and like what this can look like. It feels really good. However, I would say like ultimately like maybe it's like the community kind of group of stewards or the NFT, and maybe there's some also overlap between like the people who belong to these groups, but to say, hey, like I want to push forward like these 3 applicants to the final pool, and this is and then we're able to look at collectively like this smaller shortlisted group of people, and like it might also like uh lower the labor needed to like go through like these applications, and so
Mm,
and also allow people to commit to like a shorter period of time and not have to like score everybody's thing. So
yeah.
in theory.
Yes. In theory. And about your comment, Golden, I think it's, oh, what the, sorry, I was just got DM, that's all. No, no, no. In theory, like because our Twitter space is pretty public, and like if it was like a closed system where a lot of decisions are being discussed in Zoom and nobody's invited, I would say that might be a different story where you're not aware of another group's decision. But because with these things are pretty transparent, public, if they have an issue, they can just go and uh, listen to the conversation. Everybody has the same access. So I really, yeah, and particularly if we scale, it's just not feasible. So I think based on some of these reasoning, I think it's not necessary. Like everybody has to be there at present.
Yeah, also it's a great process and great learning. So keep rolling.
Purple
Yeah,
pill.
let's go to Purple Pill Friday. If well, I'm gonna go and ask them about the Golan SDK.
Natalie,
Uh,
I got a
Yes,
question,
sir.
Natalie. Can you DM me your Stacks address, a Stacks address, a Stacks wallet address?
Maybe she hasn't got one yet.
Oh,
Have you got one yet, Natalie?
I've got a gift for you.
Oh, nice. Uh,
So when you DM me
Gift.
a Stacks address, and you a gift.
Let's go to Purple Pill, y'all. Hear the juice talk shit.
All right,
uh,
we're gone. Thank you everybody for coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah, good on you, Nat, for Stacks London. Thanks
Thank you
to
very much.
Stacks London hosting the space today.
No worries, man. Let's get this show
Legends.
on the road. Thank you to you, Gordon. Thank you to you, Hero. Thank you to you, Natalie, and everybody that is down there jump into Purple Pill Fridays. That link is right there at the top, and we'll be back on the grant reviews again.
Yeah, Angel, Silver Monkey, we're gonna go to another Twitter space now, so feel free to come with us. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. See you later.